الخير ابتغاء وجه الله مرضاته سبحانه وتعالى. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, I'll go through Aqeedah, which is in some aspects regarded as more important than the fiqh side of it as well, purely because incorrect beliefs or ill beliefs can render your worship completely null and void without you realizing. So, inshallah, Aqeedah is something that we should take quite personally, and it's not at all about Mawlid or the type of gatherings that we hold, like dhikr gatherings, which a lot of people have a misconception about. So Mawlid kind of just gets into that, and so does the gatherings of zikr, or anything that we do, but ultimately it's about having the correct belief within your religion. So just a question, any ideas, where do you think Aqeedah comes from? There's a statement, there's a kalima, shall I say, that we would recite, and Aqeedah is sort of gives, that gives you the understanding and inshallah the belief. So don't be shy, be open. If you answer the wrong question, then that's fine, it's not a problem. Not testing you. Want to join? Iman Mufassal. So it's Amantu Billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rusulihi wal yawmil akhiri wal qadri wa sharri khairi min Allah ta'ala wal ba'thi ba'da al maut. So effectively you're saying that I believe in Allah, the angels, the books, the prophets, the good and the bad that comes from Allah, is from Allah, and also the resurrection after death. And to have any disbelief in any of these actions or in any of these points renders you a disbeliever straight away. So if you said, well, I believe in Allah and I believe in the prophets, I believe in the angels, but I'm not sure about resurrection after death, then that's a problem. Yeah. So that's the statement. It's inshallah we've all learnt and heard of it. But the word Aqeedah, where do you think that comes from? Have you heard it before in terms of in your lessons or anything else? Right. So Aqeedah is ultimately it's a, have you heard of like Aqd al-Nikah, the statement or the term? So it's basically it comes from the root word aqada, which is to tie and to bind.
Make a pact.
And then aqd is like a contract that you make. So aqd al-Nikah, for example, is the contract between the man and the woman entering into marriage. Okay, so aqd here or aqeedah here involves you making a contract with Islam. Yeah, that you're now testifying verbally that you believe in Allah, the books, the messengers, the angels, and so forth. So that's where the word comes from, Aqeedah. And it doesn't just mean Mawlid, just to reiterate that. So why I've already mentioned it, but why do you think, obviously the Aqeedah is important purely because any acts of worship that we do, or any thing we believe in, we've got to believe it correctly, otherwise it renders us our worship null and void, or B, renders us as potentially disbelievers, which is even grave of a sin, and also a situation to be in. So Aqeedah being so important, we need to be able to now understand how to believe in Allah. Inshallah, we all testify every day that we believe in Allah, but how to believe in Allah? That's the question. Also, how do you believe in the angels, and so on and so forth. So again, inshallah, we'll try and cover portions of this, inshallah. So you've got the 5 pillars of Islam. I don't think that's one of the kids outside. You've got the 5 pillars of Islam, which is your testification of faith, shahada, salah, zakat, sawm, and hajj. Now your 7 pillars of iman, beliefs. So the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our belief should be that there is none worthy of worship, and there is no one or nothing that is in sharik of him, associated with him in any way, shape or form. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it quite clear in the Quran, in Surah Ikhlas, قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ, say Allah is one and only. So this surah, when we recite, not only does it increase us in faith, but in the belief of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He is one and only. So this is known as the term Tawheed. That's where it comes from. To believe in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A lot of the time, and within our sort of Sunni circles, Tawheed is regarded as a quite negative statement, because Tawheed in our times, the Salafis or the Wahhabis, or they're the ones that preach Tawheed, and the reason they preach Tawheed is because they're so scared of, and then they're quite incorrectly scared, that if we mention the Prophet ﷺ in a particular way, then that means that you're connecting him ﷺ to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which these two can never be connected in that respect. Yeah. So Tawheed is literally meaning the belief in the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that He was neither born nor He was created. He is the one that creates. So believing in His wahdaniyya, His oneness, and to believe that He is the one that provides for us. So everything in creation, first of all, has been created by Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Every one has been created by Him, whether it's angels, the humans, the mountains, the sky, the heavens, the earth, the hellfire, anything that you can think of is Allah's doing. Even if you see something that's been created by a man, if you see a nice car, a house, whatever, this TV, whatever, it's been created by a man, but the credit of that goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The reason for that, so the reason, if you see a nice car, you could say wow, or you could say mashallah. If you say mashallah, you're rewarded for that, because you've done the dhikr of Allah. And the reason the credit goes to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Allah created that individual who gave him that knowledge and that understanding and the brain to create that particular thing that you're praising. So ultimately, everything, all the praise literally belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So to have that understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one and only, the one that feeds me, or the one that provides for me, the one that has created me, the one that gives me good, the one that protects me from bad, but gives me bad in order to test me, to purify me. So that's the correct belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a lot of the time people would ask, or people would say, now I'll probably pose this question to everyone: is Allah everywhere? People say Allah is Mariante. What would be the right answer for that? What do you think?
No.
Is Allah everywhere?
No. No,
Just
we don't know.
either say yes or no.
We don't know.
It's just quite an open and closed question. Yes?
No.
No.
Allah doesn't fall in that concept of being in our space and time, so it's not the same thing.
Yeah?
We don't know where he is.
First of all, we don't. Yeah, that is the point itself. That Allah has no time, space. We can't measure him in any way, shape, or form. And that in it, the statement that Allah is everywhere is quite a problematic statement, because somebody would ask you, is Allah in the toilet? How would you answer to that? Is he in the toilet? But is he aware that you're in the toilet?
Yes.
He is. So he's not in the toilet, but his knowledge is gone.
It said that Allah is closer to your jugular vein. So like
Allah is closer to you than your jugular vein.
So
Yep.
there's loads of us. So technically he would be everywhere.
But no, he's not. Allah's knowledge of you as an individual is so profound and so intense that you don't know yourself as well as Allah knows you, and Allah knows you more than what you can think of yourself. So it's a confusing statement here, but so that He's closer to you, yeah, because He knows you so well than your own your jugular vein doesn't know you that well. That Allah knows you that more than that. Okay.
When
So
you say everywhere, what do you mean by everywhere? What's your understanding of everywhere? Everywhere is only what you think of everywhere. Do you know what is in the Lawh Qalam, the Arsh of Allah? Do you know what's in Jannah? Do you know what is in
see, that becomes a very problematic statement to say Allah is everywhere. Yeah. Allahu, there's a statement which is Allahu mawjudun billah makan. Allah is present without an abode, like a house, or without any sort of it's not Him. Yeah, what you think of Him is not Him. Yeah, so the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, again, these are something that they come into play as well, because there's the Wahhabis, there's the Salafis, they would say Allah has hands, as it says in the Quran. Yeah, His hand is over them. It says Allah's face has been mentioned. Allah's, I think, shin has been mentioned. So, if you're like a closed-minded individual, you'd say, well, Allah is like a human being because He's got a face, He's got a hand, He's got, astaghfirullah. Again, that would render you in a very complicated state. Are you a believer or not? Yeah. You'd be regarded as a hypocrite at the very least. So, again, there's an incident of Sayyidina Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, when one of the people came to him and he mentioned that he read out the ayah of the Quran where Allah says He Himself, that Allah has a hand. If you know of Sayyidina Umar and you've heard of him, you know that he doesn't take such statements lightly. So he took a whip and he battered the guy. He said, how do you like this hand now? Because these are statements that the Sahaba never questioned. They never said, oh, so Allah is like one of us, astaghfirullah. The Sahaba understood from the Prophet ﷺ, without any tafsir of those ayahs, that this is just a metaphorical and so that we are able to understand. Yeah, his hand is over theirs. They controls themselves. He's under their wing. He's under their wings. But that's just to give you an idea that, and to give an understanding that it's not the hand specifically, is that Allah is taking care of that individual. Allah has taken them closer to Him, and as they say, He's brought them under their wing, so to speak. So again, that statement again is can be problematic if you don't use it in the right way. And those people that really propagate, there's some people that have just made out of videos upon videos on the body parts, astaghfirullah, of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is mind-boggling. How can you identify, or how can you paint a picture of your God or your Lord who you've never seen? So these are, again, the belief in Allah is part of that, the attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
So when you say attributes, it's the 99 names of Allah. Yeah? Would you say it's the 99 names of Allah? Or?
So part of that, it comes in. So for example, Ar-Razaq, He is the provider. So Ar-Rahman, He is the merciful.
That's how we should understand Allah, from
Yeah.
the 99
From-
names and the
yeah.
attributes from the 99
Yeah.
names.
They give you an indication, but even
that
that
helps us to understand what sorts of attributes Allah has, rather than, because we cannot contemplate what Allah is.
Yeah, exactly. So the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give a clue of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. But who knows Allah than Allah Himself? Yeah? Nobody knows Allah like the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and nobody knows the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam like Allah. So only this sort of relation, if you like, is what matters. I mean, we can understand that Allah is the provider, or we can understand that He is the one that gives life, He is the one that gives death, and He is the one that resurrects you also, and He's the judge. He will be the one that judges your actions on the day of Qiyamah, and He will be either the punisher or the one that sets you free into Jannah. These are the beliefs. But if we get into these, so it's quite, we should be careful of who we listen to, especially on the internet or YouTube. Because some people will just listen to because he's got a nice beard, or he prays the Quran well, or he has a certain organization, or he fits this. But you've got to be careful, because they would say things and that you would end up believing, and then that would potentially could make you into a disbeliever. So that's why, as our teachers always say, stick to the teachers that would, if you feel that the person you're listening to has said something odd, you can always put a stop to them. Ask around. Don't just take it all in, because these have problems with your worship and your faith as well. So again, the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the most important of all the actions. If your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is incorrect, then the belief in the angels and the books and the prophets and everything else becomes there's no value to that, because the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be incorrect. Any questions on this before we